You know, I've been dealing with some face pain, so I will not be here on Thursday. So I'm going to go over some energy facts that I took from a Newsella article. It's called 10 Interesting Facts About Energy. I'm not going to go over all 10 interesting facts because a couple of them weren't very interesting, just to be honest. So I'm going to go through these facts. There are quiz questions. And you will need to pay attention to what I am reading so that you can answer the questions correctly. They are not difficult questions to answer as long as you're paying attention to the Edpuzzle. Okay, so let's get started. Okay, so what is energy? Energy is the ability to do work. And another word for energy is power. It's what makes things move, work, and grow. Energy powers the lights in our schools and homes and fuels our cars and buses. A lot of energy we rely on each day comes from materials dug up from deep in the earth, such as coal and oil. Today, scientists and other experts are learning more about renewable sources of energy, such as wind, water, and sunlight. Question 1. What is another word for energy according to the first slide? Is it A, power, B, water, C, non-renewable, or D, scientist? Number 2, which of these is not a source of renewable energy? A, oil, B, hydropower, C, solar panels, D, wind turbines. Okay. Always turn off lights when you leave the room unless you should always turn off the lights when you leave a room because it can save a lot of energy. But if you have special light bulbs called CFLs, you don't always have to turn them off. Turning them on and off too many times shortens their lifespan. You should turn them off if you'll be gone for 15 minutes or more, but if you'll be right back, you can leave them on. True or false? You should turn lights off if you're going to be gone from the room for 15 minutes or more. Is that A, true, or B, false? Coal is king, but not everywhere. In the United States, coal makes 39% of our electricity. It's burned in a power plant. The heat from burning coal is used to boil water, and then the steam moves a turbine and generates electricity. In West Virginia, over 90% of the electricity is generated from coal, but only in California, only 1% of electricity is generated from the fossil fuel. So true or false? Coal power is good for the environment. Is that A, true, or B, false? And then the next true false question, we use a lot of coal power in California. Is that A, true, or B, false? Daylight savings time is good for the planet. Now remember, daylight savings time is when we change our clocks back in the fall so that we gain an hour. And then in the spring, we move the clocks back forward again. Okay, so that's what they're talking about. It says, when we turn our clocks forward each spring, we move an hour of daylight towards the end of the day. In 2008, we had 4 extra weeks of daylight saving time. Scientists studied how much energy we saved and found out that we saved 0.5% of electricity. Even though that sounds small, it's actually 1.3 billion kilowatt hours, which is about how much electricity 100,000 houses use in a whole year. So true or false, daylight savings time does not save us any energy use. Is that A, true, or B, false? Every state uses hydropower for electricity. A flowing river is powerful, and we can use the flow to make electricity. Ancient Greeks built water wheels to grind grain thousands of years ago. Today, every state uses hydropower, which is electricity from the flow of water. In Washington state, 70% of the electricity comes from hydropower. Hydropower plants are inside dams, such as the Hoover Dam. Some places don't build dams, but instead just use part of a river to make electricity. True or false? The image above the picture is of hydropower. Is that A, true, or B, false? The United States is a world leader in wind. Wind has been a source of renewable energy since the invention of the windmill thousands of years ago. Today's wind power is made from big wind turbines. They're over 300 feet tall and some have 8,000 parts. Along with China, Germany, Spain, and others, the United States is using wind to make lots of electricity. And this is something we talked about in class, this question. It says, true or false? There are more wind turbines in Ohio than in California. Is that A, true, or B, false? We can get energy from trash. All the waste we flush down the toilet and put in our trash cans doesn't have to go to, well, waste. When waste breaks down, it can release methane, a natural gas that we can trap and use to make electricity. This is also helpful because methane is a greenhouse gas. If we use it, we keep it out of the atmosphere, and this is great for the environment. Electric vehicles are great, but not everywhere. Cars that run on electricity instead of gas don't release pollution. But when you charge the car at home, where does that electricity come from? If the electricity comes from renewable sources, electric cars are great for the environment. But if you charge a car with electricity made from coal, it's not as good. The car doesn't pollute, but the power plant that charges that car does. According to the article, what is one of the problems with electric cars? A, if you use electricity from wind, it's terrible for the environment. B, if you use electricity from coal, it's bad for the environment. C, if you use electricity from solar to power your car, it's bad for the environment. According to what we talked about in class, what are two of the reasons many people don't switch to electric cars? A, people don't like them because they're too slow. B, people do not have access to charging their cars at their home. C, people can't afford the electric cars being sold right now. Or D, electric cars look dumb. We need better batteries. You might be surprised, but batteries need a lot of work. They don't store enough energy. For us to use solar power and wind power, we need to be able to store a lot of energy. That way, we can still have electricity on cloudy days with no wind. Lots of researchers are working to make better batteries that last longer and hold more energy. So, what is the problem with the batteries we currently have? A, they don't have enough ability to store enough energy. B, they're ugly. C, Apple used them all. Or D, this isn't the correct answer. Okay, so now you're going to use the link for the Flipgrid, and I want you to record a short video that tells me one thing you learned about energy so far. Okay, so go to Google Classroom. I will have the link posted for you to go directly to the Flipgrid. You will have to sign in with Google in order to participate, and it is part of the grade, so make sure you get that part done. I need to know what you are learning. All right, I'll see you guys next week.